Hi, my name is Des. I'm a self-realization mentor, and I have had the pleasure of working with Sasu Hope for several months now. And within a half a year of a period, my life is pretty much unrecognizable. I have worked with her in a couple of different senses, but mostly when it comes to the Healing with Money program, I have seen a huge transformation. I want to say like their total life, whole life results. Not only do I make more money completely from my business, but I live in the area of my dreams, in the apartment of my dreams. My relationships are better. And my relationship with myself is much better. And why that's so significant is because as a high achiever, before working with Sasu, I knew how to drive results, but not necessarily the ideal results. And it was difficult for me to come into a full emotional connection with my results, and also a full emotional connection with why I wasn't seeing the results that I wanted to see, meaning my ideal results. And that was very painful for me because I'm extremely talented, but it was like 2 and 2 was equaling 1 instead of 4. I wasn't seeing the abundance and the reward and the pleasure and the plenitude that being as skilled as I am naturally earns me and deserves and attracts. But I wasn't in the space because of this money wound that was so active, so highly charged, standing in the way. And what I really needed was a container, a sacred space for me to see me and do sort of the lower self work that's generally in our blind spots that we can't do by ourselves. No one can. And it gave me the space to do this level of work that I'd had such a hard time doing, but knew that I really needed to do. And as a result of doing that work, just as I expected and suspected, my life would change, and it did. And that's generally because of the work that I've done with Sasu during the Healing with Money program. But she also supported me with getting into the program. I had problems just manifesting resources to align with a resource. It was that hard for me. And I was that triggered, and my money wound was that real and that active. And so not only was the program itself really amazing, but there's a before, during, and after picture to Sasu's support that enables even super duper high achievers like myself, super duper talented mentors myself that's already successful, to be even more successful because we feel successful ourselves. We're in touch with the emotional aspects of our business, and we're also in touch with the emotional aspects of ourselves that drives better business as well. So, and the funny thing is, I took the program freaking twice. So I did it the first time, and I had huge results in terms of really experiencing a lot of money that was in my sphere, but that I wasn't allowing to come through. It finally came through, and I made over 5 figures in 1 month of working with Sasu in the Healing with Money program. But then I took it again, this last round. And all the money that I've earned, which at this point, I just signed on another person this morning, puts me just under 10 grand for this month.
With 4 days to go?
With 4 days to go. And it's all coming from my business. All of it. Is there room to grow? Yes. Can I pick apart places and areas where I could have shown up more, where I could have done this, where I could have done? Yes. But did I generate over 8 grand in 3 weeks? Yeah, I did. And I have to, and I can now give myself that credit, which was kind of the missing piece for me, which is interesting because a lot of the times we're always complaining about, I'm not making money, this, that, and the other. Now I'm making money and seeing where the disconnect is. And that's why this program was so healing for me and so necessary for me. I also, in the second round, came upon way more resistance to actually doing the work, which I needed to see, because that's where I wasn't. That was the reason why. That level of resistance to doing the work again, that level of showing up for myself, that level of committing to myself and to my results and to my purpose, I got to see where I was limited and restricted from that. And I got to see how hard the programming was and how actively the wound was that gave me the ability to see where a major blind spot has been happening for years now, where it comes to, if it's too difficult for me to do, it must not be time, I must not be ready. something like that. Now I know how to see resistance within myself, deeper levels of resistance, the kind of resistance that's mind, body, nervous system resistance, and overcome it and move through that threshold anyway. But doing it from a heart-centered place that doesn't make me go into like the high achiever, hard-ass mode, that really enables me to lean into the stretch, to the growth, to the embodiment work. That's sort of my prerequisite before seeing the result that I really wanted to see. So there are layers to my before and after picture, being that I took the program twice, and also being that before the program, my work and the work that I was in partnership with Sasu was to just get me into a program, because I was not letting resources come through to support me even in getting into her program. So lots of movement. Sasu is a great leader for leaders, somebody that already identified, like myself. I need small shifts that make a world of difference for me. I know how to hold space for myself. I know how to do a lot of work. I know how to hold the monster, create, hold sacred containers for myself. So I needed someone that knew what I was experiencing, because they had already embodied and had gone through the work, did the work, and now have embodied the other side. And that's what I received from Sasu. That's what I always receive from Sasu, is that modeling, not for me to become who she is or how she is or what anything like that, but to see how things are possible and to embrace them for myself. And that's what I was able to do big time. And I feel more autonomous in my business. I feel more independent emotionally in my business. I don't have as much pressure on my clients to buy, because I recognize myself as the creative source in my business. And I'm flowing and in willingness to really just serve. And that helps me a lot when it comes to marketing. It helps me a lot when it comes to visibility and putting myself out there. And it comes in handy when I'm putting myself to sleep at night and reviewing my day and feeling really proud about the work that I've done and the way that I've shown up and how that impacts me. So it's really been a sacred blessing to be able to have done this work twice. And by this time, I actually have the skills and tools to continue doing this work, and I have access to this forum to where healing with money never stops, especially because I'm going to lead an evolutionary life. I will be at the peak of my game the whole journey up until I'm at my most masterful level. And it's exciting because without healing the money wound, I would not have been able to understand that there are ideals to achieve between where I am now and my level and my destined level of mastery. So it's been really powerful. I recommend, especially if you're a very strong personality, especially if you need a sacred container to do work that's hard to admit that you need to do, this is the program for you. And Sasu is the partner for you in terms of leading you into the next level of your excellence. It was certainly life-changing and amazing for me. I am like living the life. It's amazing. So,
can you tell me a little bit about how this opened up your creativity? I mean, we didn't even work on creativity necessarily, but how did it support you in opening up to your creativity?
The immediate thing that opened me up to my creativity was just looking at money as a tool immediately. A tool suggests that it's just a building block. So what am I building? That's where the creativity comes in. That's where the focus on my creativity came in. So when I understood that money wasn't the result, that it's on that what I want money for, and then what I obviously really want is what's on the other end of that money. And what will I create with that? What does that look like? How does it fit into the grander vision that I have of myself and my soul purpose and the expression of that? And so naturally, it just moved me into a more creative place that way. The other thing is, the more confident you are, the more creative you are. Naturally, you want to see the ideas that flow through you, your ideas, move and impact people the way it moved and impacted you. And that's the thing about confidence that I found out as well, is like, there were no amount of accomplishments that I could have achieved that would have made me feel successful. I had to like own success within myself. And that led to a confidence within me to be more creative and try things out and even put out certain ideas that are big, deep level ideas that are like, who the fuck is going to want, who's going to want to hear this? who's gonna wanna own this right now? You know what I mean? But that's the level of work that I do. And having this container to do that level of work within myself and get the results that I got gave me confidence to be able to deliver this magnitude of results for my clients. Therefore, making me more creative. You know, I'm more me. I'm more confident. I'm more me. I'm more creative. I make more money. I'm a happy girl.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing your experience. I'm sure that it's going to be beneficial to everybody. Oh, and the last thing.
Yeah.
How quickly did you make your investment back?
Probably within like the first 2 weeks. I mean, I made the investment back within the first.
No, the first round, but the second round.
And the craziest thing is all these people that I signed up are for April. I'm literally a month ahead in my business.
Yes.
Like I'm not even generating money for March. I'm generating money completely through April. So that's pretty impressive too. Like I'm a month ahead on everything. That's a brand new stratosphere in my business.
Right. No need to like be rushing all the time and like be hustling.
No. And that was my thing, was how do I create consistency in my business? Like I can't be in this awesome creative stratosphere within myself and be like in survival mode at the same time. Like, how do I get out of this rat race? And I had to get out of it here. I had to get out of it here. I had to get out of it here in my field. And obviously that magic showed up in my external experience as well. I'm operating from a totally different emotional awareness of myself, and how that translates into mindset work, self-care, and results is pretty magical. It's really awesome.
How do you feel to yourself?
I wouldn't pay to be anybody but myself. Like I literally think I'm one of the coolest people on the planet, if not the coolest person on the planet, but one of, because I have great friends, you know, but it's like, I am in my body, you know, like there are areas that I need to stretch into that completely take me out of my body, but look at the awareness I have of that. Also look at what I am able to do that I wasn't able to do before. It's like I'm a larger container. I'm able to just see both and deliberately create my life anyway. And I feel worthy of the clients that want to work with me as well, which is like, that's a very secret experience of a high achieving service provider, healer, coach, whatever. High achiever in general is like, that you feel worthy of the people that want to work with you. You know what I mean? That when somebody gives you a compliment, that like your real reaction is, I know that to be true about myself. Like you're absolutely right. Like I'm you know, and they're not informing you of something and you're trying to catch up with the compliment. Like you're like, so yes, absolutely. And you just own, like, have a deep-seated need for praise. So thank you. And you're right. You know what I mean? Like that's it. So it's good. It's really good. I love who and how I am. I love how I am. I've always kind of loved who I am, like the image of me, but I really like how I am. I like how I think. I like how I process. I like how I make moves. I like how I make money. I like how I live. And that how piece is one that we normally obsess about when it comes to like the place of having a desire and then seeing it manifest and then living it as and in that manifestation. It's like a how. But the how that I have, the relationship with how that I have now is more like, oh, I like how I did that. I like how that feels to do that, you know, and it's a different type of how. So it's pretty rad. It's great. Thank you, Sesu.
Oh,
great job.
My pleasure. You great job. All right. Thanks.
You're so welcome.